Good afternoon. It's good to be here. Thank you, everybody. Look at all these smiling faces. I am Sheila Malcolmson. I'm the member of the legislature for Nanaimo, and I'm here on behalf of Environment Minister George Heyman. He is meeting with the environment ministers, both provincially, territorially, federally, in Halifax today. Would be with us otherwise, but asked me to pass on his congratulations and his thanks to all the stewardship groups especially that have been doing this work. Here on Christina Lake, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the territory of Okanagan First Nation and the Sheweppin First Nation. On days like this, I am so grateful to live in a province with such a diverse and rich natural environment, packed with unique species and ecosystems that are not found anywhere else in the world. Known for its old-growth forests, an abundance of wildlife and critical fish spawning habitat, Gladstone Provincial Park is truly a special place, and an ecologically important one also. So this large wilderness park protects really important wilderness values, along with essential habitat for a wide range of wildlife species, and a big recreational area as well. To give access to Christina Lake is significant for a lot of Canadians, not just British Columbians. And that's why today I am so thrilled to announce that the province is adding almost 6.5 acres of land, of hectares. Let me say that again. That's why I'm so thrilled to announce that the province is adding almost 6.5 hectares of land to Gladstone Provincial Park at the north end of Christina Lake. This land features a natural sandy beach and lake frontage, spawning habitat for kokanee, open forest, sensitive shoreline and creek ecology, and pockets of old-growth forest. With the strong encouragement of the Christina Lake Stewardship Society, the province purchased 2 private lots from Ponderosa Estates. These 2 lots were the last remaining private land holdings at the outlet of Sander Creek, which is used by 70% of the stream spawning kokanee salmon in Christina Lake and the shore spawning habitat as well. And at this time of climate change, salmon need every bit of help that we can give them, and expanding this park helps. Adding this land to Gladstone Park will create a continuous protected area in the north end of the lake, which is vital for connecting wildlife habitat. Now, if these properties had instead been sold off to private interests, the opportunity to safeguard conservation and manage recreational interests may have become limited. Marina development, rezoning for multiple seasonal residences, and land clearing were all distinct possibilities for these properties. So the next step will be determining the long-term uses of these these newly acquired lands. But in the meantime, the public is welcome and invited to use them on a day use basis, and that will be overseen by park rangers. I'm really glad to have BC Park staff with us today that were really vital in the negotiation and addition of these lands. This addition to Gladstone Provincial Park demonstrates our government's commitment to expanding parks and protected areas. Last year, more than 190 hectares of ecologically sensitive land, valued at approximately $10 million, was acquired as new park or expansion of existing parks. And we continue to look at areas where we can acquire new parks or add to existing parks. Now, standing in this park, we can see how important Christina Lake is for recreation and for wildlife, and why we must strive to keep water clean and healthy for all the species that depend on it. Protecting waterways is something that I am passionate about. It's why I'm in public service, and as special advisor to Minister George Heyman, the Environment and Climate Change Minister, I've worked with coastal communities to tackle the problem of marine debris, abandoned vessels, and marine plastics. And we're working to find solutions to both prevent them and recycle the waste better. Minister Heyman has been actively working to explore how to prevent, reduce, and recycle plastic waste from all sources so we can better protect BC's marine environment. That work is ongoing, and stay tuned for next phases of that project. And the work that I'm undertaking in parallel is on marine debris protection. And that's going to be a key part of BC's overall plastics and pollution prevention strategy. Protecting the environment and taking meaningful action is core to our government's achievement of BC's conservation goals. Our province is exceeding federal conservation targets, and we are leading the country in conserving land and inland waterways. Having a constituency and a push for that work is absolutely vital. We know how important parks are for bringing families together and communities together and focusing on the things that really matter, including preservation of natural spaces and the land that we support, that these parks support. Now, I grew up in a family of ecologists because my great-great-grandmother protected forests. Then I got to grow up as a wild kid running around in the woods. It shaped me, it changed the person that I am and the work that I'm doing. And that's because 100 years ago, people had the commitment to protect land. And that's very much this story today. This park expansion could not have happened without people working together and looking ahead. I want to acknowledge my friend Richard Cannings, the Member of Parliament for this region. This is the heart of his riding, and as a conservation biologist, it's a especially good day. And also Donna Wilczynski is here on behalf of the Regional Area Director for Christina Lake. They're really important partners. But particular today, I thank Doug Sander for his vision and for selling the property to BC Parks. His family's long-term commitment to public access and public ownership is demonstrated all around this lake. It takes a willing seller and a willing partner, and we're very grateful to the Sander family for making this happen. And also tremendous thanks, in particular to Nick Kapik and Peter Bowen for spearheading the push to have BC Parks acquire this property and making it a priority. This would not have happened without you. So please join me in thanking all the members of the Christina Lake Stewardship Society and give a round of applause for our next speaker and our final speaker, President Jeff Olson. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. I think you pretty much covered everything.
Reinforcement is
I'll
a
do
good
that.
thing.
Welcome everybody, and especially welcome Sheila and representatives of government, BC Parks, stewardship members, and just the general public of Christina Lake. So on behalf of Christina Lake, I want to congratulate and thank BC Parks, the government of BC, represented here today by Sheila Malcolmson, MLA, on behalf of the Honourable George Heyman, Minister of Environment and Climate Change, for completing this incredibly important and valuable initiative. Christina Lake Stewardship Society is absolutely delighted with this announcement and applaud not only this particular initiative, but what it represents for BC and for the future of British Columbians as a whole. I also want to thank and recognize past President Peter Bowen for his integral involvement in the process, and once again also recognize Doug Sadner for his involvement in being the vendor of this property. This sensitive and diverse riparian area hosts a myriad of sensitive plant and wildlife, some of which, like the western painted turtle, are species at risk. 70% of our creek spawning kokanee utilize Sadner Creek, and both beaches are utilized by the beach spawning kokanee. Adjacent to the park are trout spawning streams. Along the shorelines and in that rare cedar and hemlock forest live otters, beavers, lynx, bobcat, cougar, grizzly bears, black bears, wolves, deer, elk, moose, eagles, vultures, hawks, loons, ducks, geese, herons, snakes, frogs, turtles, just to name a few. Hopefully I didn't miss anyone. As well, they're a microgroup of insects, worms, planktons, and plants that form the base of the food chain for that area. From a stewardship and environmental perspective, it is frustrating to watch the continued depletion of wetlands and sensitive wildlife habitats in our province. Conversely, though, as it is today, it is encouraging and inspiring to see this sort of action taken by the province to protect and preserve these type of areas for our generations to come. One can never look too far into the future when it comes to our planet. Once again, thank you And congratulations to all as we all win in this one.